Oh, I guess it's going. Hey, how's it going? Uh-oh. Hold on a second. Hey, did I already say, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? There are probably going to be some interruptions because there's something going on this side of the screen, but that's okay. That's what pause buttons are for. So, please observe my signs. Uh-oh, of course everything's trying to fall off the counter while I do this. Because that's the way it goes every time I try to do stuff here. Oh, precarious. Tippy, stop. You go here. Okay, so I have a cold. How do you like my voice? Okay, so I pulled 3 cards. And the first one I've pulled 2 from the, oh god, my hand doesn't want to work, Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And the first one I pulled, oh, I don't want to get that even a little bit wet, is Lost Compass. Number 35, if you add 3 and 5, it's 8. Power. It's power. I mean, that's what I always think of first, and then if you tip it horizontal, it's infinity, eternity. So anyway, Lost Compass, the subtitle is Getting Back to Integrity. And you know, I'm looking at this and it is definitely a compass, but there's a part of it, there's like a bunch of concentric circles with markings on them, and sort of like a clock, you know, and there's a big central portion that's kind of recessed around this edge. And if you I will show you if I can choke the words out. The central portion is recessed in this frame, and it reveals another place behind both the edge of this compass and the central portion that I said is recessed. You can see things that look like the workings of a clock, like a mechanical clock. You know, rings with edges on them, cogs that can, you know, mesh with each other as they turn, like this sort of thing, right? And the part that's recessed in the very center, there's like a cross of light, and it's emitting rays everywhere around it. Lots of gold, which, you know, and I guess everybody else, since I learned it from other people, associate with, you know, like God, spirit, divine energy. And so if you can see what I was talking about, see, there's this golden rim, right? So that's like the edge that I was talking about. And then here's the central portion, and around, in between the gold and the central portion, you can see darkness, right? So like there's something like in there or behind there, and it doesn't seem, this behind doesn't seem to match up with this one. Like, let me take a look at this out of the glare. Well, there's definitely like illustrations of things going on here, but it looks like decorative ironwork, like you'd find on like a garden fence or something, or garden gate. I don't know, that was the association I got for that one. But here, I'm gonna hold this closer so maybe you can see. you should be able to see like some gears and things. I couldn't think of that word. That was the one I was looking for. Gears in there, and you can see they have sort of crenellated edges going around the circumference, so they can mesh like I was talking about. For why and for what purpose, I don't know, because a compass, I believe, is a pretty simple machine. I mean, you can make one from like a container of water, a magnet, and a sewing needle. I don't think you need a bunch of gears. Like, even obviously this one would be fancy, but I still think you don't need to have a bunch of stuff like machine works inside of it. So that must be a metaphor. Why don't we take a look at what the book has to say? Sorry, my cat is climbing recycled cardboard mountain. Lost compass, getting back to integrity, finding the way home, trusting intuition. When the lost compass appears, it is a sign that you need to find your way back home, back to your source and center, relying on your intuition to arrive there. Be wary of the signs telling you to turn here or there, or to avoid this or that person or situation, because the outward indicators are not reliable right now. Be careful not to believe all of the advice you are receiving. Rely instead on your innate sense of direction and guidance, and use your homing instinct to lead you true. You know, something that I've been experiencing, and I know it's happening with others because of readers that I watch that communicate with their viewers, and also the readers are talking about it in terms of themselves. Like, everyone is feeling ascension symptoms, essentially. Ooh. Whoa. I have a cold. I'm a little bit sillier in the head. Anyway, a lot of people are feeling what I've been talking about, like difficulty settling down to meditate properly, or having to meditate a lot, or having to ground a lot, you know, or feeling sleepier than usual, or more awake, like you, like just all over the place, you know, pain, you know, and it's all, you can go to the doctor for some of these things, like headaches, and I guess there's some hair loss for people. I mean, it is like so many symptoms, nothing makes sense, because everyone's different and everyone's getting affected differently. But the point I'm trying to make is that usually when I think of compass, I think of moral compass, but here this is sort of a more metaphorical, directional sense, I guess you could say, in that we're just sort of knocked off course by symptoms, and then, you know, once you're being affected by symptoms that you can't seem to find a rhyme or reason to, and neither can a doctor if you go to one just to check. Get out of here. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I can't believe a fly is up at this hour. Go do what flies do when they sleep. Anyway, we're just like a little off kilter, a little off. And I feel like that's not like you're off your center, you know, which would I translate as direction, like where you're headed, where you're meaning to go, and we just kind of lose it for a minute because, well, I think we're losing everything is going out of focus and a little like off kilter, you know, like one of those Batman 66 fight scenes that's all tipped. Everything is there, but it's like, whoa, you gotta look at it this way for a while. And then, you know, depending on the severity of what people are feeling, we can find our way back to center. So, I mean, maybe the background here behind the central recessed portion that didn't make sense with all these gears and hidden mechanisms and movements, maybe that's what's going on inside of us that's so hard to define from the outside, when it's really definitely there are a lot of sort of influences from outside of us wanting to make their way in, and not just the ones that I'm talking about. There's like all of the rest of life, like radio signals and phone stuff and electricity, just a lot of stuff. And then we people are not so unlike all of these other things that I was talking about, emitting electricity and, you know, rays and stuff. We're doing it with emotions and things like that. Pause, please. Okay, so yeah, maybe that background represents all of the weird symptoms and feelings that we're getting, because also, I guess, on top of the symptoms, all these things in our ooh, do I even want to go there? I do not. There are sensitivities and abilities and gifts that are getting, you know, clicked online inside of us. And I can't speak for anyone else's experience, because I don't really know anybody else personally that's talking about this stuff to discuss it with. But from what I hear, and I figure if stuff's happening to me, then it's also happening to other people. That's just the way it is, you know. Like every time there's been a major invention that we think of today as this one name behind it, not only is it not that person by themselves, it was like a bunch of other people's help along the way, and also dotted throughout the world at the same time. Concurrently, there were other people coming up with the same things. So it's just the way we are. Like our pop star inventors, celebrities, whoever, you know, whoever we glom onto and make our idol. In this case, I'm thinking Alexander Graham Bell. When God, was he stealing from Tesla too? Poor Nikola Tesla, man. Such a brain, just outputting, well, you know, taking in from like really distant sources, let's call it, information. And then, you know, he has all these inventions and everybody just wanted to take from the guy. And I think Alexander Graham Bell was his boss for a period of time. And oh, see, I'm thinking of the phone, and being mixed up. What I mean to say is the electrical current, and I believe that he basically, while working for, I think it was Bell, came up with AC, alternating current, and there were competitors that were coming up with direct current, and now I'm all confused. See, I didn't want to get into something else and lose my track. But anyway, dude came up with a whole bunch of stuff, barely got credit until way posthumously, you know. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Pausorama. Okay, back to it. So I hope I got across. Oh, well, I was talking about Tesla and something about this background and the hidden workings and movements that, to me, I was talking about him not getting credit for stuff. I don't know what that has to do with the compass now, but I'll tell you one thing. he stayed true to his own personal compass. He was busy taking in information, and he barely had any other distractions in his life. In fact, don't even go there. His main focus was his work and connecting with whatever was sending him inspiration and information from the universe. Look him up, Nikola Tesla. Is not really unknown. But I'm going to read from the guidebook and see what it says about... Oh, I already read it. Okay. So the other card I pulled was number 48. Sky Dancers. You don't need to see the guidebook. And 4 and 8 is 12. 1 and 2 is 3. And 3 is 1/3 of the Divine Trinity. And I'm sure there's other stuff. Man, a lot of shadows happening. A lot of shadows and a lot of glare. But it is the... I don't really know what to call that type of insect-looking thing. Nymph comes to mind, but I think that's like a larval stage or a gestation stage for a bug when they're going through a metamorphosis, and they go in like a wormy type thing and come out something like this that flies. And actually, I don't know if this is an actual creature in reality. It kind of looks like it's got some, I don't know, add-ons from the artist, or I'm just not sure. And you know what else? I am not going to look it up. I'm just going to take it at face value. They are dancing around this orb, being attracted to light, just like a flying insect in reality. So let's see. It's Sky Dancers, and the subtitle is Surrender. And I guess I kind of knew that, but I felt like you should know it, because I'm just talking about them dancing around, dancing in flight. Interesting concept. With abandon, though. I mean, it's like dervishes, except dervishes, I mean, I was going to say the worst thing they got to fear is getting dizzy and smacking into each other, but I think they're so well trained at it by the time you see them doing it publicly that they're not going to smack into each other. Like, they just know what they're doing. And that might be the case here, because, you know, we get all, like, sort of knocked off our course. We get, like, agitated or sad or confused or traumatized or, you know, overindulge in some way and get so caught up in, like, that kind of happiness or manufactured happiness, however you want to look at it. But whatever it is like it takes your mind off the ball and you get off course. You lose your compass. And so this is kind of like that, like almost like addiction. Like you just constantly want to be in that place where you're just high, and you don't want to think about anything else except feeling good. And you know, when you're up in the air and your feet are off the ground, you know the responsibilities are down there below you, and momentarily you're not being weighed down. So I would say you sort of lost your way. You know, you're off your compass. But the thing about surrender is well, I mean, you can do it under many circumstances, but what I'm talking about here is this feeling, this energy of completely distancing yourself way up high, maybe, or in some other way, metaphorically, you are removing yourself from your immediate situation to indulge in this other thing. So you could just, like, if you're, as I was saying, an addict, you could just be all drunk and I'm not talking marijuana. I'm talking like hard drugs that you put in yourself with an injection or something like that. So, but you come down from a high, right? You tire yourself out. If you're a dervish, eventually your body insists upon rest, or it won't continue to function for you. And so surrender is not like going to the firing squad in this case. It's getting lost for a moment and losing your compass. And this is more intentional, I feel like, than an ascension symptom. This is doing what you got to do to get back on your course again, you know, but you got to like let off some steam. And this is the opposite of grounding, but sometimes that's what's required. Like, you know, we love our poles. So either we got to get all whacked out and have to ground ourselves to get level and normal again, or we gotta drag ourselves out of our dumps, you know, and raise our spirits and smile when we don't feel like smiling, which will breed more smiles. Like, we always forget that if we know it, and if we don't know it, it's like, wow, we should be telling each other that, because it's a cheap and free way to feel easy, to feel better really easily and really quickly. I'm going to read from the guidebook about these sky dancers. Liberation from attachment, surrender. When a sky dancer appears, she is inviting you to welcome the deepest power of the feminine into your life. You have already overanalyzed your situation to exhaustion. Very masculine, very Virgo. Now is the time to invite the sacred feminine, the wisdom within your heart, no matter your gender, to guide you to success. I'm just thinking of, like, okay. How it is, like, when you're like a small child. And I want to say, for some reason, and I know it's not right, but I want to say it's a little girl thing, you know, with the daisy chains and putting them in your hair and just like rolling around in the flowers and smelling them. I mean, I'm sure boys do it too. I know they roll down hills with flowers on them, but I'm not sure how much time they spend with and on the flowers themselves, unless they're like kicking the heads off dead dandelions or something. Dandelions. Slender dandelions. Sorry, mixing my everything up over here. Now is the time to invite the sacred feminine, the wisdom within your heart. Already read this. No matter your gender, to guide you to success. If you have become earthbound, plotting and planning and praying for change, cease and desist. Break the habit of being yourself, of repeating the same behavior, and hoping for a different outcome. Wow, these cards say that a lot. We're like, we don't get it. Stop banging your head against the wall. That's not going to do anything. Go around the wall. Sorry, rant over. Break the habit of being yourself, of repeating the same behavior and hoping for a different outcome. Stop trying to figure it all out and stop overthinking it. Surrender. I mean, have you not been there? You're driving yourself nuts, thinking in circles, and the only thing you're achieving is just upsetting yourself further, you know? Because at some point your think is all out of thoughts, and you have to stop and like go to sleep or something. And I get that, like, that happens a lot, where I have to like redirect my thoughts because I find myself getting agitated or triggered, or, you know, whatever it is. But one of the less sought after sort of feelings for me lately, I would rather be upbeat and happy as much as possible. I know it's not something you can do 100% of the time because of that. Those poles, again, you gotta have that contrast. But, I mean, don't you ever get to the point where you're like, I gotta stop thinking about this, and like finally, if you don't think of it sooner and save yourself some time and anxiety, you go change your mind, which is the essence of what you have to do, pretty much. I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be complex. Those are two of the same things. It doesn't have to be a big production. Just change your mind, do something else. But I mean, don't just like be all upset and go, baseball. Like, you don't care about baseball, really. You're just like trying to throw a word in there. You have to like give yourself a carrot to follow away from the thing you want to surrender from thinking of. Like, surrender your attention. We said Kazawi. Ooh. So, I have more to read. The sky dancers are heralding the arrival of a new relationship with yourself, in work or in your love life. Do not assume that this person or opportunity will rescue you. The only way to liberation is to kiss the ground goodbye and take flight, to rise above the fray and the drama of the struggling, arguing mind. What did it just say? Dance in the sky and view the madness below. Right? Get up off the ground, away from the madness down there. And that could be literal or figurative. I was almost going to say figural. Haha, I caught it. Anyway. Sometimes you just got to rise above. Dance in the sky and view the madness below. By simply witnessing the actors and the human comedy unfolding on the ground, you are transforming it. Because you have removed yourself from the equation, so that's one ingredient it just isn't going to have this particular time. Where is the place? As you observe the drama, you unleash the power of the sacred feminine that allows for resolution. Unleashing! The sky dancers know the maps of heaven and the way to the holiest and most sacred places on earth. Just like Snapple. I'm sorry. I gotta come up with something else besides I'm sorry. It's so old and tired. I'm ready to surrender that to the ether. Like, please give me another phrase to get stuck on. The sky dancers know the maps of heaven and the ways to the holiest and most sacred spaces on earth. They come to help you with your current life, and even more important, to guide you to the realization of your own divinity. Well, there's a lot of us needing help with that lately. And there's a lot of approaches to, what was the phrase? To guide you to the realization of your own divinity. I'm hearing some things lately that make me think people have gone completely off course with the interacting with the divine. I see a lot of stuff, and of course it's because of what I'm looking at. But it is a repeating theme, where you see people saying, well, they just need to get more God, or they just need to read the Bible. But when I hear the people saying it, and I hear the rest of what they say, I'm like, you should also take your advice. But I don't think they're talking about the same, like, God and Jesus even that I'm thinking of, because their God is angry and vengeful and mean, and they are like attributing a lot of stuff to Jesus that, like, it's been a long time since I've read the book, but I have a pretty good memory of the Jesus stuff because that was the stuff I liked best. And man, you are doing completely not what he was saying in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to accepting people as they are. They're like, we gotta fix you or eliminate you or something. But nobody is, well, I shouldn't say nobody because it's not 100% everybody in the whole world saying this, but yeah, like that was not the message. Like to go like mess with people. The thing was like fix yourself and then maybe worry about other people, but really actually you don't need to. Just fix yourself and worry about that. Like that was for me the thing. Like tend your own garden, and if we all did that, the world would be a beautiful garden. And that is my opinion. And so I pulled a third card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, and it was elk. And wow, I've been seeing a lot of antlered animals lately, and it just pictures of them are everywhere, and I wonder, it's more, I feel like, than what this book says about them, but personally, I have like a deer connection. There are, like right up the street, like, well, we got long blocks here, so I would say in a normal place, but where I grew up in LA, the blocks were not, some were long, but for the most part, no, not like this. So I'm trying to calculate in like blocks that are a quarter of a mile long or less, even an eighth of a mile long a piece. The place I'm trying to talk about is about it's about 8 or 12 blocks, because there's a straight shot to get up to a certain area, and the street kind of ends because there's a business there at the end of it. But halfway up across the first boulevard at the end of this long ass block I live on, there is a cemetery. So I mean, I don't know if you could call that a block, but it's a small one. But from once you cross the boulevard, let's just say the road from once you cross is a whole other block, and it's another long one, so 3 blocks. But bisecting that street is another one that I also go down, and that would be another 4 blocks. So altogether about 12 blocks. Not that far. It sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. But the point is, up that road, I always see a couple of does, and they have some fawns. And I feel like I've seen 3 and 4. But the other day, I saw both does out there and 3 fawns. But I always think, okay, there's does and there's fawns, and I haven't seen no bucks. But I see them. I've been pulling this card like crazy lately. It seems like I pulled it probably 5 times in the past few weeks, month maybe, and they just keep coming up like online, on television. I know there's this thing where once you notice it, they're everywhere, but I feel like there's something more that I'm supposed to understand. And an elk is not a deer, but I mean, for me, I'm not a hunter or an animal biological biologist, bionicle, whatever. I'm not a. Will you stop it? I'm not an accredited animal person. See, I can't even come up with a word. But it looks a lot like a deer. I mean, it's not a moose. Those have those spatulate antlers. And squirrel friends. Pardon. But I wonder, like, where are the males? They have these big things on their head, these points, these racks. Did they get hunted? And these deer, I'm not sure, like, where they can really go. They're in an area that's pretty industrial, and then that cemetery is there, but now it looks like big swatches of land that had just all blackberry bramble, like just big bushes of blackberry, but I'm talking huge, like a couple of chunks of a couple of block areas. And then down the industrial street that bisects it, there's a whole other, there's like a company down there that has big like trucks coming and going, like 18-wheelers and things. And there's a few companies down that road, but there's also some areas that are undeveloped. And I see the deer behind the fences of a couple of these places, and there's a little bit of wild behind there. But honestly, they're like, the freeway is like on one side. There's like a busy boulevard, the one I said I had to cross to get up there, and like everywhere around them is less wild and more buildings than anything. So I'm just wondering, where are the bucks? Did they get hunted? And how far do these animals get around at like nighttime or early morning when there's little traffic? How far are they ranging? They don't talk to me that way, though. They're fine with me walking up and talking to them as long as I'm about 50 feet away, but I don't think they're gonna like start answering questions if I turn on my little light that I have on my bike and start giving them the third degree. I don't think they're gonna react well. I think they're gonna just do that thing where they prance and suddenly are gone. I'm in love with them, though. I love seeing them. They're so beautiful. Oh my god. Sorry. And this time I truly am. So yeah, I mean, where are they? Are they lost? Do they... I mean, it's not like they go hunt and bring food back. They're herbivores. Although, so weird, today I saw a YouTube short and it was a deer eating a snake, and it was saying, in times of desperation when food is scarce, like I imagine it is around where they are, because I started to say this, there were big swaths of blackberry brambles that were running through there, with a slough running through it, which is like a waterway, and they've all been cut down, and the berries haven't even fully ripened yet. Like there's some right outside across my deck. Same, I mean, probably were all once part of the same field before all kinds of buildings were here, and that source of food for them is gone. I mean, they took it all down, which makes me think they're gonna go pave it or something. And then where are these animals gonna go? I mean, I actually think about that, and it makes me sad. This area has been so deforested, and I mean, I have animals, like I leave food out on my deck. I started doing it for stray cats because there's plenty of those, but I've since had possums and raccoons come up there, and squirrels. You have squirrels like everywhere. There's lots of trees that they've left, thankfully, and birds. But I wouldn't be surprised if a deer walked up one day looking for something to eat, and I sure as heck would feed it. Because I feel like we have lost our way, and part of what has made the world as mean and crazy as it is right now is that, yes, we've lost our way because we started paying attention to all of this modern technology and crap in here, and it's like messing up our digestion, our mental digestion, and I don't know. Like I was talking about the other day with the unicorn and the dragon, I feel like we need to get back to that time where we could open our minds to such things, and I feel like in between where we are and there, we could find some place in our hearts to think about where these animals, not just these, but every other one that we're running out of their habitats. I think we need to surrender our addiction to the technology and get back to basics. And that's beyond like getting back to your Bible and going to a church. That's meeting spirit face to face. Like thinking of nature that we need it and it needs us. We need to be in cooperative balance with our surroundings, and we got so into technology and things that we forget the things that are like the building blocks of life and what keeps us sane, because all of the electrical stuff makes us kind of nuts. It hurts us and we use it to hurt each other. It's like a sickness, and we need to surrender that. Oh boy. Thank you and good night.